Well, it's a day of threatening rain here in the city of Philadelphia this afternoon, but hopefully the rain clouds will hold off until we have played this ball game that has a lot of interesting facets about it. But before we get to the ball game, let's take a quick look at the playoff circumstances. And as you look at the Eastern Conference, the 4 teams are set for the conference playoffs, but their location has not exactly been nailed down. If New Jersey should win here in Philadelphia today and Tampa Bay lose in Birmingham, then Tampa Bay would come to Philadelphia next Saturday afternoon. New Jersey would go to Birmingham next Sunday. If Philadelphia and Birmingham win today, then it's going to be a rematch next Saturday and Sunday of the pairings in this final week of the season. Looking out of the Western Conference, the circumstance, you have the 4 teams now selected. If the Michigan Panthers can beat Chicago today, they will be playing in Los Angeles, and Arizona will be playing at Houston. And if there is anybody unhappy in the game of football today, one would think it would have to be the playing personnel and perhaps the coaching staff and ownership of the Denver Gold. Last Friday night, the Denver Gold closed with a very strong performance against the resurgent Oakland Invaders, posting a victory over the Invaders. Harry Sidney's 42-yard run giving the Gold their 7-0 lead early in the ball game. In the final play of the first half, Brian Spielman kicked a 57-yard field goal to make it 10-0 at halftime, Denver. Quarterback Craig Penrose, in relief of starter Ken Hobart, lofted a 31-yard touchdown pass to Kevin Williams. 17-0 Denver, third quarter. Spielman added a field goal. Denver running back Vincent White fumbled. Oakland recovered on the end zone for a touchdown. The final score was Denver 20 and Oakland 7. Now, the win gave Denver a 9-9 record and playoff hopes that hung on the outcome of last night's Arizona-Los Angeles game. But Los Angeles quarterback Steve Young did not play. Arizona jumped to a 7-0 lead on the Greg Landry to Tim Spencer pass of 37 yards and a touchdown. Zendejas hit a 31-yard field goal, make it 7-3 Arizona at halftime. And Landry, having a big ball game, hits Tremaine Johnson 15 yards for a touchdown, 14-3 Wranglers. Also, third quarter, same combination, 10-yard TD, 21-3 Arizona. In the fourth quarter, Tim Spencer broke loose for this 35-yard run off the sweep. And it sets up a 1-yard touchdown plunge by Kevin Long. At this juncture, it was pretty obvious that Arizona was going to win the football game. Frank Sire, who worked at quarterback for the Express, finally got Los Angeles a touchdown in the final period to make it a 28-10 ball game. Dwayne Gunn makes the catch here down the middle in front of the goalpost. And then late in the ball game, Carl Allen intercepted Sire, returned the interception 35 yards for a touchdown. Arizona 35 and Los Angeles 10. Arizona in the playoffs, Denver out. Well, obviously, the Denver people were irritated somewhat by the absence of Steve Young in the Los Angeles lineup, because they argue that there is an obligation to play your best people. Well, as of last Wednesday, and this was underscored considerably by the Express general manager Don Klosterman, as of last Wednesday, Steve Young, the LA Express quarterback, was listed as questionable for the Arizona ball game because of bruised ribs and a very sore knee. He really couldn't throw the ball effectively, and he couldn't run very well. Now, Carl Peterson, the Philadelphia Stars general manager, is the chairman of the competition committee for the United States Football League. And earlier today, I talked with Carl about the fact that L.A. did not play its number 1 quarterback.
Well, I'd be very, very upset about it, obviously. I fully agree with you. I think it's the obligation of a professional football team to put the best people on the field that they can, especially if the outcome of that game has some type of results that would allow a Denver to be in the playoffs. If I were the owner, general manager, president of the Denver Gold, I'd be very upset today with what transpired last night in Phoenix, Arizona.
Do you think it'll become a subject within the league over the next few days and or weeks?
Well, I think it's certainly going to be something that's discussed. I'm the chairman of the competition committee, and we're always concerned about competitive edges and trying to be as fair as we can regarding the competition throughout the league. It's a concern, and I think that's something that should have been discussed before last night, and that something should have been resolved then. But there's not much we can do about it now, and the Denver Gold, of course, are going to have to wait till 1985 for the playoffs.
Lest it become a roaring tempest and charges be made and so forth and come up before the competition committee, again to underscore that Young was listed as questionable as early as last Wednesday. And again, Don Klosterman said it was simply a matter of the Express letting down, having already clinched the Pacific Division, and the Arizona Wranglers being in a position of having to win in order to get into the playoffs. We'll take a look at today's matchup here at the Vet in Philly between the Stars and the Generals. Swanee, you've been in this position now where you're already in the playoffs, yet you got one more ball game to play. What is the incentive?
Well, the incentive are many, Keith. All the emotional factors, the pride, the psychological aspect of the game, trying to go into the playoffs with a real positive attitude and on a winning note. Now, you take the New Jersey Generals. They like to maintain that edge of having been the only team to have beaten the Philadelphia Stars and create, if possible, some kind of jinx to make them leery of playing. When you talk about pride, the leader of their defense, Jim LeClaire, big veteran from the Cincinnati Bengals, he's a man that keys that pride and that leadership on the defensive team. Now, when they met in the third game of the season, it was number 55, Jim LeClaire, that is going to recover a Kelvin Bryant fumble. This was a big key, the biggest key of the ball game, because it led to a Roger Ruzek field goal that gave them the lead, 17-14, in the difference in the ball game. Late in the fourth period, Chuck Fusina, driving his offensive team down the field, finds Willie Collier open, but he never hangs onto the ball, and Jim LeClaire picks it off. Jim LeClaire was asked by our Don Towson how important turnovers are in a big ball game like this.
Well, yeah, it's a key against any team. You know, and as good as Philadelphia is, naturally you'd like to get turnovers in the game. I think they're big momentum swings, and if a turnover causes a momentum swing, it's all for your advantage. You know, so it's a big part of it, and I think that, you know, in most cases games are decided by turnovers.
In the first game, you got in some shoving matches and some verbal stuff. Is it important in your role to be a little bit verbal, to fire up the guys around you, do you think?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know that it's that important. I think that the players are fired up in themselves, and it's not really up to me to get them going, but the game just dictated that at that point. You know, I'm not saying that that's my nature, but it's just that's the way it went, and that's the way it worked out. But I don't think it's my role any more than it is anybody else's role to get the guys fired up. They're responsible for themselves.
Swanee, I would think the Philadelphia Stars would certainly like to win this ball game. They would get some degree of revenge from it. They would win 15 in a row. They would set a new standard of excellence with a record of 17-1.
And all those things are very important to them, Keith. But the most important of all, however, is to get one of those wins back from New Jersey. They don't want to go into the playoffs saying, well, the only two losses we have on their record are to the same football team, a team that they could very well see in the playoffs. And the man in charge of that attitude is Jim Moore. He says his ball club is ready to play. We asked him again, how important is it for his team to win this ball game, and are they ready?
Well, from a standpoint of effort and intensity and how hard we're trying to win, I mean, there's no holding back. We want to win this game in the worst way. As a question of what we're going to show, what we're not going to show from an offense-defensive standpoint, we might hold back just a little bit because of the circumstances.
Your star running back, Kelvin Bryant, will not start, and he was fined for being late to some team meetings.
Well, Kelvin, you know, the last 2 or 3 weeks had been tardy a few times, and it's really not a big thing, but we did penalize him a little bit, and we're not going to start him today, but he will play probably.
Jim Mora talking with our colleague Don Tollefson. The way these two teams have come out of the tunnel looks to me like they're both jacked up. It might be fun at the Vet in Philly this afternoon. We'll get it going in a moment.
Who will call the coin toss? What is your call? He calls tails. Tails is the call. The coin is head.
Philadelphia has won the toss, and they will take the football. In 1983, Philadelphia won 9 of 18 tosses of the coin. 1984, they were 500. They won 9. of the 18th. So the Stars and Kelvin Bryant, as noted by Coach Jim Mora, will not start. He was late for a team meeting. They dinged his pocketbook and plunked him on the bench for the opening series. The Southern Division that we mentioned, you see Birmingham and Tampa Bay well out in front. New Orleans started big, faded. Memphis was the pesky one in that southern area because they jumped on Tampa Bay and handed them a loss that, depending on what happens today, would haunt them still. But Birmingham was able to pull away and turn back the bid by Memphis to beat them before a sellout crowd at the Liberty Bowl a week ago. There's Kelvin Bryant. As you can see, will not put on the hard hat, at least for the first series of plays. Philadelphia will be going this afternoon without their veteran tight end, Steve Folsom. He has a hamstring and won't play today. As a matter of fact, he's pretty shaky prospect for next week because he has quite a severe hamstring. The man who will return the kick for Philadelphia, there are two of them, but the man in particular they want to have the ball is right there, number 20, Mark Mccants. He's a 195-pounder out of Temple. Mark Mccants is one of the specialists on the hot position on kickoff coverage as well. He's almost always in the fray in pursuit of the ball. Roger Ruzek to kick off for the white-shirted New Jersey General. A threat of rain on the horizon, but so far we have had none. It's quite cool at the Vet in Philadelphia, and here we go with the final regular season game of 1984. The kick carries well into the end zone, where Mccants, 2 yards deep, will come out with it. And he gets across the 15 to about the 16, where he is cut down. Billy Caesar among those there to get a hold of him. And Chuck Fusina, number 14, comes out at quarterback, the 26-year-old out of Penn State. 3 years at Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers, and now second year with the Stars. Lining up behind him will be Brian Thomas, a rookie out of Pittsburgh, a 180-pounder who played a lot last week, had a very good ball game. David Riley out of West Virginia will be the fullback. Scott Fitzke, Willie Collier are the wide receivers, and Ken Dunnick will open at the tight end position. Also up front, it's Oates, Gilbert, Comiskey, Eatman, Dunnick, and Oates. They send Tom Donovan out with Herbert Harris for the first offensive snap, giving them 4 wide receivers. And Fusina's going to throw on first down. Throw short over the middle. Pass is good to Herbert Harris, a rookie out of Lamar, and he picks up about 8 yards before they can bring him down. And Jim Mora indicated, Lynn Swan, that he might hold back a little bit today, but it didn't appear so on that one, did it?
Well, that's just a tactical move on his part as we take a look at the defensive line for the New Jersey Generals. Lockett, Woodland, and Jim Byrne line up. Linebackers, Harper, LeClaire, Leopold and Joyce, the veterans, and Justin Williams, Johnson, Barbaro in the secondary. They're going to have the work cut out for them because there's a multi-formation, varied offense they're going against.
On second down and a short 3, Fusina is almost caught behind the line of scrimmage, and he is going to be sacked back on the 20-yard line. So finally run down by Tom Woodland, second-year man out of Missouri, with some help from Bob Leopold, the veteran out of Notre Dame. Nobody available to him in the secondary that time.
Well, he had a little zone route. He had a pattern call, and they were playing a very good zone defense. It looked like it was a zone route, but the short man, number 86, Willie Collier, who was looking for him very quickly, he had a linebacker standing right behind him, so he had no one to throw the ball to.
And it is third down and about 4.5. With Thomas now checking into the ball game with Riley, and Donovan stays in along with Collier. Good protection, pass is complete, and it's just good enough to Willie Collier for a first down. Willie at 5'10", 175, and I would imagine Willie would like to have his number called a lot today because it was Willie in the closing moments of the loss at New Jersey. Willie had the ball in the open, capable of putting it in field goal position where they could have gone for a tie with seconds remaining, and he just flat dropped the ball.
I talked to him after that game too, Keith, and he was down, very disappointed with himself, and he knew that he should have hung on to that football, and he's a better receiver. It's one of those things that happened, and he knew a little bit of time would pass by, and he'd get over it.
That was a cold, snowy day.
Yes, it was.
On the first down play, they hand it off inside to Brian Thomas, and Thomas is hit rather quickly by strong safety Gregory Johnson, who had come up to support on the inside.
I have to point out that the #1 defensive team in the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia Stars, but they're going against the #2 defensive team here against New Jersey.
And they play different kinds of defensive philosophies. New Jersey will not blitz very much. They make you travel the long road.
I hope that you make a mistake and capitalize on it, which is the same thing that Philadelphia hopes, but they'll give you more blitzes, more things to think about on defense.
Second down and about 11 as Chuck Yusina drops to throw. Looks down the middle, goes to the right side to the 40. Good for a first down. Coming up in a hurry was number 23, Terry Justin, to bring down Scott Fitzke. But he is across the 40, and he's got another Philadelphia first down. So they start back on the 16, and they've now moved out across the 40.
Now, Kelvin Bryant leads his team with 1,277 yards rushing coming into the game, but a lot of his rushing success comes because they have a very outstanding passing game this year. Scott Fitzke and Folsom, the injured tight end, gave them so much control. Third down plays, the short yardage passing plays. Little short passes to the backs out of the backfield. Then the offensive line can just bear down, give the ball to Kelvin straight ahead. And Brian Thomas is a very good running back, too.
David Riley, the fullback, the big man. 215-pounder out of West Virginia, comes rolling up the middle, and he's got a big gain on first down before John Joyce out of Colgate makes the tackle. He's the right inside linebacker for New Jersey, and he has moved in ahead of Bob Horn in starting at that position. A young player, 230 pounds, who has improved tremendously over the second half of this season. A gain of 8 yards by David Riley. It'll be second down and 2 with the football setting just over the 48. Second and short, Yusina gets it away. The pass is caught by Scott Fitzke, and Yusina is dumped hard as he released the ball by a blitzing Gregory Johnson. Well, Johnson, the strong safety, was coming that time, and you've just not seen it very many times from New Jersey.
Well, we saw something from New Jersey we hadn't seen for quite a while a couple of weeks ago in New Jersey. We saw that offensive team open up and play a little bit more versatile offense and spread things out. They had a great deal of success doing it. Now we seem to see a little bit more aggressiveness by their defensive team, and they're going to need it.
It's playoff time. You've seen it now, 4 for 4, 40 yards. Ball is inside the New Jersey 40. First possession of the ball game. Philadelphia moving it. You've seen it goes on a hook. That is thrown wide of Willie Collier. He had it. He's wide open.
So Willie Collier was standing in between number 53, Bob Leopold, number 47, John Joyce, and he wasn't really coming back to the football. A little safety kind of route where he's just sitting there, the quarterback gets his read, then he decides on who to go to. Had he been coming back a little bit to that ball, he would have had a chance to make the play.
So it'll be second down and 10 here in the opening moments of our football game. That's Riley with it. He has to cut it back inside. He started outside, and then it was sealed away by Leopold. And Leopold and Woodland gang up on him and bring him down. So they'll be looking at third down and about 6. Kelvin Bryant benched for the opening series at least.
That's a new haircut for Kelvin. It's matched by one under the helmet of David Riley. Kelvin said in North Carolina he used to get hot in the summer. He just shave it all off so he could stay cool. Got used to doing it, got ready for the playoffs, decided to do the same thing, and David Riley said, well, I'll keep you company.
You got 4 wide receivers in there now, third down and 6 for Philadelphia. You've seen it ducks away from the pressure, but he won't get the first down. Recovering and coming up to make the stop is Leopold, 53. And Chuck Yusina will be now going to the sidelines for some advice on what to do, whether or not Dave Trout comes or whether or not Sean Landetta comes. And it'll be Dave Trout on fourth down and about 4.
Lockett did a great job coming in from his outside in position to really put a lot of pressure on Yusina, collapse the pocket around him and force him to run.
It'll be a 50-yard field goal try by Dave Trout. He'll hit it at the New Jersey 40, his longest of the season, 49 yards. He's 0 for 3 from 50 and beyond. Reardon gets it down. Trout gets his foot on it. And it's just missed. Just missed. I thought for a moment he had it. but there's a little bit of wind that's gusting around inside the stadium, and it may have knocked it down. So he is short by about a yard from 50. New Jersey holds Clarence Collins, Danny Knight, the wide receivers up front. They go with Mackey, Lapham, Hull, Harris, Millard, and Sam Mowers. Sam having regained the starting role at tight end for the Generals. And here's their first snap, and as a result of Trout missing the field goal, they get the football. Pretty good field position at their own 33. And it's Herschel Walker cutting it over the right side on the first play. Comes out for the 41, hit hard. Ball seemed to pop loose. But they're going to call him down, and he took a whack.
Well, Sutton brought him down, but Lush just took him about shoulder high with his shoulder, met him, and really bent him backwards onto the turf.
Lush, good size, 195 pounds. They go with Moore, Kugler, and Fielder, the three down linemen. The linebackers are Bunning, Howard, Mills, and Cooper. The secondary for Philadelphia, Sutton, Lane, Gibson, and Lush, and they're good ones. Second down and 2 as Herschel picked up 8 yards on that carry with Collins going in motion. Give it back to Walker. He runs it up the middle, picks his way close to midfield. And he's got a first down for the New Jersey Generals as the offensive line that time opened the door for him. Lapham, Hull, and Harris, the big guys right in the middle.
The key to the success of the New Jersey running game is to get big yards on first down. It gives them the option on second and third down how to call their plays. They can keep the ball on the ground if they gain 4 or 5 yards or more on first down, creating the third and short situations on the ground, running out the clock, controlling the football game.
Generals on their own 49, first down. And it's Walker sweeping left. And again, he's got good yardage. He's got 6 as he goes from the 49 down to about the Philadelphia 45, where George Cooper brings him down.
Well, that's what you have to stop. That's the number one weapon of this offensive team. You take a look at Antonio Gibson. Now, he's a strong safety. He is a safety. Lush is behind him. They're going to be responsible for lots of tackles downfield. This defense moves to the ball very well. You see there are 4 people on the ball. Lush in the secondary, following it, reading the play, then reacting to the run, coming up to make the stick.
Tony had started to go with Clarence Collins, the motion man, and then went back to get into the play. It's second down and 5. This is Carthen. And he's at the 44. Pete Kugler, number 67. Bottom of the stack. And every time you see Pete these days, he says, "Speak softly, will you? My body is aching."
You know, coming in from San Francisco, having played the full season in the playoffs, now another whole season. So you take a look at Chicago Blitz with a 3-point lead over the Panthers.
Well, now Michigan, if they should win this afternoon, will go to Los Angeles to play the Express in the first round of the playoffs. If they get beat, they're going to have to go down and face that bunch of rabbits in Houston. That'll be a tough chore. Sipe to throw it to the sideline. Incomplete. Almost picked off. Intended for Danny Knight. And he was almost picked off by Garcia Lane, number 47.
Garcia Lane is the cornerback they brought in to free Antonio Gibson, who was the starting quarterback for all of 1983, to go into the strong safety position. He's been picked on quite a few times throughout the year, people figuring he doesn't have that much experience, but he's met the challenge and played very well for the ball club.
Lane is also the punt returner for Philadelphia. He's averaging just under 9 yards per return.
He's in the hot seat. With all the quarterback power in this new league and teams wanting to put the ball in the air, if you're playing out in defensive corner, you better be tough.
Bob Grubb hits it at the 46, pops it straight up, shanks it right. But it takes a New Jersey bounce, and he gets away with it. He wound up with a pretty decent kick down near the 11-yard line with the roll. It's a 34-yard punt. It actually traveled in the air only about 20 yards. In Philadelphia's first possession, they threw 7 times, ran 3 times. And they start just outside the 10. David Riley and Brian Thomas are the setbacks. And it is Riley up the middle. David Riley to the 22 and a first down. Bob Leopold and Gary Barbaro brought him down.
Well, that's the offensive line blocking and the coaching, looking for this kind of defense. Just a quick play right up the middle. You saw the charge of the offensive line. You open up a hole. Dave Riley just ran straight through it. No problems. First down outside the 20.
Big David's got 24 yards on 3 carries.
Big David's having a really good year. It's the best he's ever had in professional football.
Collier top of the picture. Fitzke bottom of the picture. Double wide. Stay with the ground game. Go to Thomas. Not much. Knox Riley, 35. Woodland, 71. Stacked it up as much as anybody.
So far, these first drives, first 2 possessions of each ball club, the defense has exerted itself, showing its dominance against the other team, its ability to stop them in passing, running situations.
Second down and 8. Brian Thomas trying to slash it over the right side. Number 47, John Joyce, stood him up. James Lockett locked his legs. Thomas last week had a big ball game. He scored twice, carried the ball 14 times, picked up 66 yards. Jim Mora took his time about bringing Brian along into the offensive circumstance, but he did it rather gently. As a matter of fact, Thomas made his first appearance in a ball game that we did against the Birmingham Stallions.
And boy, I thought in the second half of the ball game he was going to try and beat them by himself.
Good player. Quick darting kind of a runner. Slasher. On 3rd and 5, Fusina runs out of time, throws it. Riley caught it and got a first down.
You said it last year. James Lockett put the pressure on Chuck Fusina. But what you said last year about Chuck Fusina is exemplified right here. He may not be the greatest player in the world, but all he does for you is win football games. Here he scrambles, feels pressure as he goes down, gets enough on the ball, has his head up, finds David Riley, who makes a very good catch, ball into the turf for the first down.
At the 34-yard line. So they're off the hook again, having started at their 11. Alan Harmon is now in the backfield. Riley out. Penalty flag in the air as Harmon goes over the right side for a yard.
We'll note that that's a change for Alan Harmon, who had been playing tailback, backing up Kelvin Bryant. Now he's playing behind David Riley at fullback.
Mistake by the Generals. They were offside. Earl Sorgan is the referee. The rest of the officials are Ed Manning, the umpire, Bob Walker, head linesman, Ted Colano, line judge, Bill Richardson, the back judge, Joe Richwine, the side judge, and Michael Mathis is the field judge. They come from all over the country.
You know, in the penalty area, New Jersey has not been penalized quite as much as Philadelphia. They've been penalized 83 times for 687 yards, and Philadelphia has been penalized.
Offside. Offense. Still first down.
112 times for 934 yards.
Well, why the hell did he do it out there? Right, I want to reduce it. That's bullshit.
Uh-oh.
Walter's hot.
That's as much emotion as I've seen all year from him on the sideline.
It'll be first down, and the penalty went against Philadelphia. Instead of New Jersey, they throw the pass to Ken Dunnick, and Dunnick is thrown down at the 40.
What they're doing, Keith, they've been running this kind of pass play all year long. They'll send the receivers downfield about 15 yards, get the linebackers back to cover. Then they'll send Dunnick. He gets an inside release from the linebacker here, comes underneath the linebackers. The quarterback reads. If he's open, you throw him the football. It's a short pass. And he can turn it upfield. By doing that, he picks up another 8 yards.
And he's big as a house. He's 6'6", 245 pounds. So he's quite a big target. This is David Riley. And Riley runs it up the middle and across midfield. And another penalty flag is down as Philadelphia has a first down if the flag is not against them. But it's against Philadelphia. They are caught holding. And they'll lose the first down, and they'll go back the other way.
Well, obviously, they're playing a tendency. They found a weakness. That's Brian Sipe, quarterback for the Generals, on the sideline. In that defense in terms of alignment or how they're playing.
Holding. Number 50. Offense. Still second down.
Now I'm going to take a look at number 55 LeClaire and 47 Joyce. So the inside linebackers, either they're lining up wide by formation, which allows the middle to be very open for the quick back, the fullback coming through, or on the snap of the ball in certain formations, they're just taking off and vacating that area.
Here's a new face into the ball game who was there previously, suffered quite a severe injury, but he is now back, and I think could be a very important factor for the New Jersey Generals in the pass rush. Freddie Gilbert is on the field. They throw a screen pass out to Riley. Riley's going to turn it into something, but there is a penalty flag thrown at about the 31-yard line. And it may very well be another call against the Philadelphia Stars.
I think it's going to go against number 63, George Gilbert, for holding.
Ineligible man downfield. Somebody had gone too far. Getting a little sprinkling of rain now. So Philadelphia is mistaking itself right back into a hole.
Yes, they are.
No score first quarter, and the first quarter's about over. We had 1:45 to play.
Ineligible receiver, illegally downfield. Number 50, offense. Loss of down. Third down.
It's a tough day for Bart. He's had 2 flags in a row.
Yeah, that was a poorly set up screen in the sense that you see Chuck Feeney's not really getting a hard pass rush. Everybody's over there on the screen. One of the offensive linemen was almost in the way of David Riley, but number 50 had just gotten beyond the line of scrimmage and was caught by the official.
So it's third down and about 25. Pass is incomplete. Mike Williams coming over to slap it away from Tom Donovan on the sidelines. He would have had his first down if he had been able to catch it. And so now Sean Landetta will have to come in, and they need a big one from him in the closing minute of the first quarter of play. Birmingham out to a 7-0 lead over Tampa Bay, with Joe Cribbs running it in from 14 yards. And Philadelphia now is going to take a timeout. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 people. No, they had 11 out there, but the timeout is charged to the Philadelphia Stars with 1:40 to play. They beat them 17-14. Philadelphia's own mistakes did them in the ball game at New Jersey. Landetta's kick does not turn over. It sort of hangs up there. Timmy White, the return man, has no chance to get to it. Ball bounces back across midfield, and suddenly, here is New Jersey sitting on the Philadelphia 46-yard line after a 26-yard punt. They own the football. They have a first down. We've got a timeout at 1.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. So what Walt Michaels loves to see is a defensive standoff and suddenly a couple of mistakes by the other team in penalties, then a short punt by the kicker, and there they are.
Well, they've had field position so far in their first 2 possessions, and coming into the ball game, if we have to look at special teams and field position, I would have given the edge to Philadelphia because they have been fantastic on their special teams all year long.
Brian Sipe on first down, rolls it left. Has all day, throws to Carthen, and Carthen is down to the 35-34, and he's got a first down. Picked up 12 yards, George Cooper. The linebacker on that side came over to shove him out of bounds.
Well, 2 things that you saw Brian Sipe do that are away from their tendencies. Number 1, throwing on first downs and not having it be a play-action pass on first down. That was a play-action pass on first down, and then rolling out. He had knee operation, arthroscopic surgery earlier in the year. Usually has 2 knee braces on, so he doesn't like to run that much.
They put Walker out here wide now. He goes outside of Collins to the sidelines. And Sipe hands inside. And Carthen is brought down at the 32. Let's check in now with Don Tollefson as he talks with Chuck Fusina.
Chuck, second straight game against New Jersey. You guys have gotten off to a slow offensive start. Do they do something that troubles you on defense?
I really don't think so, Don. So far, we've been hurting ourselves with the penalties. I think we're moving the ball pretty well. Just got to be a little more consistent. I think we'll move the ball well in the second quarter and the rest of the game.
How much does the absence of Kelvin Bryant hurt you at this point?
Well, we're losing Kelvin. It hurts. Kelvin's, we think, the best player in the league. So we're just going to have to play with what we have and do our best.
Okay, Keith.
Thank you, Don. It is second down, call it 7, from near the 32. And And you can see number 33, Maurice Kaufman. He's on the field with Herschel Walker. Now, Walker weighs 225, but for some reason, I don't know, maybe it's because of all of the press agentry, or maybe I've been brainwashed. I don't know what it is, but Walker looks like the bigger man when in fact he is not. Kaufman is bigger than Walker by 5 pounds.
I don't know how much weight training Kaufman has done. We know Herschel has spent a great deal of time in the weight room training, and just his definition might give him the advantage in the appearance.
Herschel up the middle on 3rd down and 1. And would seemingly have the first down. Defends on the mark. The gun is cracked. The first quarter is over. But let's see about the spot. So I imagine we might as well go ahead and take care of our business while they're bringing the chains on the field. We have no score in the first quarter of play. The first quarter is not reflected there. It's a 3 penalties for 25 yards against Philadelphia.
And that is the most important. They possessed the ball the longest amount of time in their second possession. They were moving the ball quite well down the field, as Chuck Fucina told Don Tollison in the sideline interview. They're not having any problems moving the football, just in the field position, making their own mistakes, putting themselves in a hole.
New Jersey was just short of the first down. It's 4th down and about a foot. Will have the first down. So on the first play of the second quarter in a scoreless football game at the Bet in Philadelphia, Walt Michaels' team gets the ball, 4 more snaps. It's sitting near the Philadelphia 23. Kind of a muggy day, but the temperature's in the low 70s, so it's not particularly difficult weather-wise, though a sprinkling of rain now and then. Sipe on first down. Pumps once, goes to the corner for Knight, and he can't get there. Don Tollison now with Kelvin Bryant.
Kelvin, Coach Morris said he was going to sit you out indefinitely. Any idea when you might get in there?
Well, I have no idea right now. I'm just trying to stay over here and stay loose.
Scoreless ball game. It's got to be difficult for a player to sit and watch when he wants to be playing.
Yeah, it is, but, you know, I can take it.
Did Coach Moore get his message through, though, about being late to meetings?
Yeah, he did. You know, he just had to do what he had to do. You know, I'm ready, you know, whenever he want me to go in.
So from now on, it's on time, Kelvin Bryant.
Well, yeah, I hope I can stay on time.
All righty, Kelvin Bryant down on the sidelines. Will be back in the game at some point, Keith.
Well, his coach hopes he stays on time, too. Because he likes to keep him in the ball game.
He's a terrific kid. He really is. He's not a kid. He's a fine young man. Brian Sipe throws a little behind Danny Knight. Danny reaching back, tried to pull it in, but couldn't do it. And suddenly now it is 3rd down and 10, and the ball sits just short of the Philadelphia 23.
It would have been a great catch had he been able to pull it in. I just noticed when he walked out up, Keith, when he got up off the ground, Keith, he seemed to be dragging his right leg a little bit. Just a slight favoring of that leg.
New Orleans out over Washington 7-0. Breakers trying to close the season with a win. They started big, but they've had a lot of grief lately. 3rd and 10. A double wide bottom of the picture. Sipe checking off, taking a long time on the count. Pressure's on. It's William Fuller, the sack. And that may have taken him out of field goal range.
Well, this is the position on the field where the Philadelphia defense really lays its ears back. They came up to the line. They gave you a blitz look. They dropped everybody else back. They sent 4 linemen down the field. Results a big sack. Takes them out of the sure field goal range. They're bringing in number 3.
The punter.
The punter. Rupp. Roger Ruzek was on the sideline. He knew he had a chance at least for a field goal from there. The big sack there backs him all the way up to the 35-yard line.
Rupp will try to kill it deep. He hits a knuckleball up, but it's going to carry to the end zone. And so the Philadelphia Stars bow their defensive neck now as the rain gets a little harder. And they'll take over, first down at their own 20. Still scoreless. We're in the second quarter with 13:53 to play. We had a penalty called in the melee following the punt. And we're waiting for definition of the penalty by Verl Sorgen, the referee.
It was, however, against Philadelphia, which now gives New Jersey Generals the option of punting again. But on the field is number 9, Roger Ruzek, the field goal kicker.
The ball has been marked down at the 37, so it'll be a 47-yard field goal try. Here's your penalty.
During the last kick, Philadelphia had 12 players participating. The play goes over. 4th down.
3 out of 6 now on the season for Ruzek between 40 and 50. This one is from 47, and you can see the folks now starting to wrap up as the rain increases. I just hope we don't get a great big old gully washer before the day's over. We have seen it rain here in Philadelphia in the springtime. Ruzek from 47 yards out of Drupp's hole. Gibson almost blocked it. Got enough leg. It's good. So Ruzek from 47 yards gives the New Jersey Generals the lead. 3-0 at 13:48 to go in the first half. And again, it was a Philadelphia mistake. Their 4th penalty of the ball game. And it looks like we're going to have a wet afternoon after all. Philadelphia's never been shut out in the first half. They're undefeated this year at home. Their only loss was to New Jersey at Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands.
After this kickoff, Keith, I'll tell you a bad memory I have involving a jinx.
There's a knuckleball floating down and out of bounds. Back him up 5 yards, and Ruzek will have to kick it again.
Let's talk about jinx. I mean, you've heard about them, or we've seen them in certain rivalries. When I was in Pittsburgh, the last 3 years, we seem to have been snake bitten by the Cincinnati Bengals. We go into Cincinnati, a team that we felt we should have beaten, and we would make mistake after mistake after mistake, and we'd never win. They went to the Super Bowl. They came back. We couldn't beat them in regular season ball games. Finally, in my last year, of the strike season, we beat them in the second game of the year, and we beat them soundly. But we just kept making mistakes we should not have made, and there was something in our heads that said, God, this game is going to be trouble. Now I'm beginning to wonder, can the New Jersey Generals, they match up well against Philadelphia, and give them that feeling of being jinxed against this ball club?
Well, Michigan is struggling against the blitz, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
And Birmingham is continuing to hold on to its 7-0 lead over Tampa Bay. Remember now, if New Jersey wins, Tampa Bay loses, Tampa Bay has to come to Philadelphia next Saturday. That's a high-hanging kickoff. And it's going to be returned by Victor Harrison. And Harrison accelerates across the 30. So the Stars get pretty good field position after the penalty. And after the return by Harrison. Now, Philadelphia's 4 penalties have been particularly costly to them. 2 of them wiped out a first down, set up a 3rd and 24, and then set up the field goal by New Jersey. So, their own mistakes. From the 31. Yusina gets it off, and it is caught by Fitzke on the sidelines, and it'll be good for a first down. It's beyond the marker at the 42.
Philadelphia had far more success on their first drive when they did put the ball in the air on the first series of downs. More success in the second drive when they began throwing the football, trying to keep the defensive team of New Jersey off balance.
Jersey showing blitz.
Preston comes.
You've seen his pass is overthrown on the sideline. Bitsky was over there.
Number 25, Preston, John Preston, the strong safety. He came up, lined up at the line of scrimmage. Now inside the defensive tackles and looked like he was going to come. That's Gary Barbaro, All-Pro with the Kansas City Chiefs for many years.
He was shaken up. Came out of the ballgame for a moment. Billy Caesar's in. Gregory Johnson, Billy Caesar, Kerry Justin, Mike Williams are the secondary people. They've got 4 wide receivers out there now for Philadelphia. And good protection for Fusina as he goes down the middle. Pass is caught by Harris. And Herbert Harris fumbles the football, and the New Jersey Generals come away with it. Guess who?
Preston or LeClaire?
LeClaire. He recovered 2 fumbles the first time they met. One set up the winning field goal. The other one killed Philadelphia's comeback hopes. The pass was good to Harris down inside the 25. He coughed it up, and LeClaire was there.
Harris is doing a very good job of making the moves downfield, picking up extra yards. He gets wide, it's open here in the zone. But now as you're making the moves, watch. No, it was 25.
Knocked it loose.
It was 25, John Preston, who knocked it loose, and then LeClaire came over to recover it. When he's running, he can't see who's coming in from behind. Then John Preston came up, didn't really go for the tackle. He went for the strip, and Jim LeClaire hustled down to pick up the results of his good work. How prophetic. We show his 2 fumble recoveries. He talks about how a big play can turn the game around, momentum. They stop a big play by Harris.
Oh, Herbert was carrying the ball out there like a sack of lettuce anyway. He didn't have it tucked away at all.
Yeah, but you know, when someone comes up from behind like that, Keith, you can have a pretty good grip on it. If they just come across with that arm the right direction, they have a good shot at knocking it loose.
10-0 Birmingham now in that ball game down south. They go to the I formation with Walker deep. First down, New Jersey, their own 25. And Walker is locked by Antonio Gibson, strong safety, who had looped in inside the defensive end and got into the backfield to make the play.
Looked like he read that play by formation, the tendency of the New Jersey team. Good homework, and he saw the formation, lined up at the strong safety position, and just took off looking for Herschel to get the ball, and he did.
Gain of 2, second down and 8, moving out to about the 26. Just over the 26. Philadelphia caught for encroachment. You got a sack by Sam Mills on Brian Sipe, but I think that'll get wiped out because one of the defensive interior linemen, Don Fielder, started too soon.
No mistake.
That's 5.
That's 5 penalties against the Philadelphia Stars. All of them have hurt their progress or their defensive efforts.
Don Tollison now with Jim LeClaire.
Offside. Defense. Still second down.
Lucky is probably a better word. I just happened to be following the plate on the field, and I think John Preston hit the ball out, and I just happened to jump on it. Right spot at right time, I guess.
Jim, second straight game against Philly, you've really stopped their offense early on. Do you guys do something that confuses them or troubles them?
Well, I don't think so. It's early in the game yet. We just hope we can stop them the rest of the way.
Jim LeClaire and that defense playing pretty well right now, Keith.
You said it. Second down, 3. Whistle, stop it. Clock run out.
False start. Number 62, offense.
Dave Lapham.
Move too soon. Both teams kind of staggering around here in the first half. 11:54 to go. It's a ball game that both would like to win, but it's also a ball game where they don't want to spend too much.
I think that's what Jim Moore meant by resting his people or getting some of his people out of the ball game. If they jump out to a big lead or if they're behind by a lot, he'll take their starters out, rest them up for next week.
Sipe gives to Carthen. Carthen is caught by Sam Mills and thrown down. Stocky Sam, 5'9", 225.
Sam Mills was the man who came in on that blitz and sacked Brian Sipe that was nullified by the penalty against Philadelphia. Maurice Kaufman, after he was stopped by the Philadelphia Stars, just bounced right back up, jogged downfield for a little bit, back to the huddle, and now off to the sideline. He's gained over 1,000 yards this season for the New Jersey Generals.
One of the few tandems out of the same backfield able to do that, Walker and Carter. 3rd down and 6. Sipe with time. Oh boy, that could have gone either way. Clarence Collins down the middle. Scott Warner coming for the ball and collision.
Very big collision. Scott Warner was going for the interception. You're not going to see him in the picture until the ball is thrown. Ryan gets it up in the air. I don't know if you saw him right there. Now, can you imagine what would have happened to Clarence had Scott gone for the hit as opposed to the interception? He might be picking up the pieces today.
Pressure on, but Grupp gets it out and gets a pretty good kick out of it. Garcia Lane. Oh, look at him. One man. Number 27 saved the touchdown, Gregory Johnson.
No blocking. Plenty of room between Garcia Lane and the coverage team. There's a fight, Keith, on the field. I don't know what's causing this. But tempers flared also. In the first game between these two people, Jim LeClaire and Irv Eatman at one time were going at it in the first ball game.
Looked like Mike Williams and Jonathan Sutton got in it for one pair.
Let's take a look. Garcia Lane takes this. He has plenty of room between he and the coverage team, but no blockers. He starts to the outside, finds a hole, and from there on, it's just running straight down the field. In improvisational running, he just picks his way for 25 yards and great field position for the Philadelphia Stars.
Ball is on the New Jersey 46. Give it to Brian Thomas. And Thomas surges down to about the 44. And there's some tempers. There's some tempers. Dave Riley getting into it now. And,
well, Dave Riley had number 96, James Lockett, blocked and pinned down to the ground on that play. Then number 71, Tom Woodland, came over and was kind of pulling at Riley, trying to get him off the pile. I said, wait a minute, what are you doing laying on top of him in somewhat of an aggressive manner? And then Riley got up and said, I don't care who you are. I can block anybody I want to. Gave him a little shove. And, of course, Woodland says, I'm not going to take it. Then you get the pushing and shoving. Everybody jumps in on it, wants a piece of the action.
Earl Sorgan trying to calm everybody down now so we can play football and instead of having a street fight. 10:26 to go in the first half. Second down and about 10 after that play in the loss. And Fusina gives to Brian Thomas. Penalty flag on the field on the far sidelines as Thomas gets inside the 40 to the 39 of New Jersey. But let's see about the penalty.
It's against Philadelphia. I can tell by the reaction of Dunnick and Eatman.
My goodness. That's 6 penalties.
Someone, I think, probably lined up offside, Keith. I didn't see anyone jump.
No, I didn't either.
Offside. Number 80, offense.
Yep.
Tim Dunnick.
Still second down.
So it'll be second down at about 15. And every one of those penalties have taken away either a big play or a first down. That particular moment wiped out an 8-yard pickup. As the ball comes back to the Philadelphia side of the field on the 49. 10 minutes to go in the first half. We still haven't seen Kelvin Bryant. Fusina to throw it. Goes to the short man, Dunnick, the big tight end. and he muscles his way inside the 40. He's going to be a yard and a half short of the first down. Well, let's check in with Don Tollefson and see if he's got an idea what's caused this flare of temper.
Keith, I talked to a couple of people along the Jersey Generals bench. They mentioned a couple of things. Mike Williams, number 29, who was involved heavily in one of the skirmishes, has been complaining all day that he's being held. He decided to take things in his own hands, apparently. The other two reasons the players on this bench cite for the fights: number one, there were a lot of pushing and shoving matches in the last meeting, and the next time these two teams meet will probably be in the playoffs. So there's a little revenge from the last time. They also want to leave a calling card, if you will, for the next time they meet, which will most likely be in less than a week in the playoffs. These two teams don't like each other, guys.
They might run them through security before they let them in the stadium if they play again.
I don't know about calling cards. A lot of defensive backs left them in my locker.
Third down, short 3 for Philadelphia. Just inside the New Jersey 39. They go to Thomas, and behind the offensive line surge is near the 35. Now, if the man coming in from the far sidelines for the spot puts his foot down there and they put the ball there, it's going to be a first down for Philadelphia, and it looks like it is. .3-3 now in the Michigan-Chicago game. Bujovich, 39 yards. And Washington, New Orleans are even. You got to remember now that Michigan and Houston, Michigan beat Houston twice this year. 31-28 overtime, 52-34. Looks like they'll be going to Los Angeles. This is Fusina rolling out. Slides underneath Jim LeClaire and picks up about 9 yards. That's a perfect example of what the hook slide can save your neck.
It can save your neck, but he got up a little hot too, because once he went down, there were two people that came in on the tackle that really tried to inflict a good shot on him, inflict a little pain, and he popped right up and ran to the nearest official, trying to draw a penalty from it. Play action, he has the option to pass or run, and he just opts to run. Right there, he's crunched. He gets up right away, and he looks for the official. He's crunched by Jim LeClaire and Mike Williams.
Give him 8 yards, second down 2. This is Brian Thomas behind Comiskey. Gets around the corner and gets the first down near the New Jersey 20. Now the Philadelphia offensive people are starting to play with a little more fervor.
Zest.
Enthusiasm. Anger.
Brian Thomas, the third all-time leading rusher at the University of Pittsburgh. Number 1, Tony Dorsett.
Ball is on the New Jersey 20. First down for the Stars. New Jersey leading 3-0. 7.5 minutes to play in the first half. Fusina back, looks for Collier, goes for Collier, intercepted by Mike Williams. Fusina trying to hit Collier on a quick one. Willie couldn't get to it. Williams was standing right there. And now you've got a penalty flag thrown, and it's going to be thrown against Irv Eatman, I believe. I don't know what Irv did out here in the open field. He was out there with a couple of generals. And so I think that little moment of temper may cost Philadelphia here.
Personal foul. They'll get the yards produced by the interception return.
Plus the personal foul penalty.
The penalty.
That's called a whack upside the head.
Kicking the man while he's down.
I would imagine Jim Morrow will be orating in halftime.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness, number 75 of the passing team. First down. Timeout.
Timeout comes at 7:23 to play in the first half. Philadelphia was down knocking on the door. They give it up on the interception.
Well, there's Irv Eatman. He's sitting there on the sideline, very disappointed with himself.
He's still a little hot.
Yeah, you see him right there in the bottom of the picture. He's blocking there against Lockett, number 96. He just falls off, hits him on the side of the head, throws him to the ground. I would not like to have Irv mad at me.
I'm not that gum sure I won't lock it mad at me. Either one of them. I wouldn't want to be in the same neighborhood with those two big elephants get after each other. Two big, strong men. New Jersey first down, 30-yard line. Give it to Walker. Herschel in the middle, 2 yards. Total offense so far, New Jersey 42 yards, Philadelphia 166. But Philadelphia has had 7 penalties, 1 fumble, 1 interception, and 1 sack.
The Michigan Panthers are behind Chicago by 3 again. And a lot of that 166 yards, Keith, they gained twice because of those penalties. They gained it once, backed them up, and they gained the same 5 yards. You know? It's in the land war. It's about scoring points.
Keep it up. That pace. That's called getting whooped, too. Sipe has Knight. Knight. Hard to bring down. Finally, they wrestle him down on the 44 of Philadelphia. John Bunning finally got him down.
We haven't been able to see a lot of Danny Knight throughout the year because he's been hampered with so many injuries. But now he seems to be playing very well. A couple of times you've seen him catch passes right here. He'll catch this one in stride. Won't be slowed down. He gets hit there by Lust, stays up. 59, that's Bunning who has a shot at him. He has another shot, grabs him by the shoelaces, and finally brings him down. It's a good solid run. He didn't pick up a lot of yards because he was running from sideline to sideline.
44-yard line of Philadelphia. First down for the Generals. Sipe still got it. Goes big for Walker, and it is knocked down by Garcia Lane. Walker was hiding on the sidelines and then took off, and he could not get to the ball, and Garcia had a shot at the interception.
Garcia Lane looked like he was going up for an Olympic spike that time instead of a catch. He went up in the air with just a little bit off balance, coming down on his back a little bit, and just knocked at the ball more than tried to catch it that time.
You don't think the coach is going to have something to say at halftime?
No, he'll have a lot to say, but right now they're only behind by 3 points with all their mistakes. But New Jersey has the ball and are driving.
And second down 10, Sipe back. Again, almost picked off by Garcia Lane as Clarence Collins had come down, cut back to the ball, and lost his footing. So it'll be third down and 10.
Well, it rained just for a little bit, Keith, and it's stopped pretty much now, but there are going to be a few wet spots on the field. You've got to make sure you have your body under control, your feet down in good position, lower your center of gravity if you're going to stop on the dime and turn back to the football. Clarence tried it, but just lost his footing and was almost able to get back up and make the catch. Wouldn't be surprised to see Philadelphia blitz this time around.
Well, they got offside. Sipe has a free play. Goes short to Walker. Herschel still working with it.
He won't need it because that's a first down.
And it's on the 33 of Philadelphia. So they will disdain the offside call, I'm sure, and take the play.
Offside. Defense. Penalty decline. First down.
Well, that penalty won't count against them as they didn't take it. Well, I think it certainly had an effect on the attitude and the play of the defensive team on that last drive, on that last play.
Philadelphia, of course, is the top-ranking defensive team in the Eastern Conference.
They could lose this ball game based on the stats we have so far and still be the #1 defensive
That's right.
team.
That's right. It's not the defense that's hurt them, it's their mistakes. Carson. Big hole, 8 yards. Howard, Bunny, the tackle.
Well, Bunny made the tackle. He was running out of the grasp of Glenn Howard in that play. Carson just lowers his head, runs.
Comes Timmy White into the ball game now. Speedster, wide receiver.
USC. Was with the LA Express. They released him and he was picked up by the Generals.
Tampa Bay's finally scored in that ball game in the second quarter. He's bad as O.J. Always getting those alma mater pops in there.
Well, you mentioned Timmy White. I just called the school he's from.
2nd down and 2. And that's close to the first down. Carthen out of Arkansas State played tight end in college. That's close to the first down. Another tight end making a lot of noise as a running back in the USFL, of course, is Todd Fowler at Houston.
Yes. Broke his teammate's record. Sam Harrell had the record for the most yards rushing in a game of 200. And he came on and ran for 208.
What's close?
From here, it looks like a first down. And down there, too. Brian Sipe felt jinxed for a long time, I think, bringing the Cleveland team that he played for so many years in the Three River Stadiums. He had never won a game there as a quarterback of that team, and its only victory at Three River Stadium came this year when the New Jersey Generals defeated the Pittsburgh Maulers.
The ball is sitting square on the 23 at 4.5 minutes to go. New Jersey trying to get in there for a touchdown. They lead 3-0. Over a mistake-prone Philadelphia Stars unit in this first half. This is Walker looking for someplace to go, and he never really had a chance.
Well, Maurice Kaufman came out, and his responsibility was blocking the outside linebacker, John Bunning, number 59. But John just took on the block, dissipated the force of it by giving a little ground, stepped inside, and made the stop on Herschel Walker.
Loss of 3, 2nd down and 13.
John Bunning, I saw him out here the other day for practice, and I'll tell you, tape and baling wire, holding that man together.
Walker is the man in motion, coming out now as a wide receiver and setting near the sideline. And Sipe back goes for Walker. And the pass is incomplete. Garcia Lane had fallen down, but the ball was nowhere near Herschel. If the pass had been a little more accurate, or maybe Herschel had turned it inside a little bit. I don't really know whose fault it was, whether it was Sipe's or Walker's.
It was Brian Sipe's fault on that one. Herschel Walker running down the outside. He gets beyond Garcia Lane. If the ball is all the way out to the sideline, he's got a shot at it. The ball was short, thrown well inside of where Herschel was. The only person who had a chance was Garcia Lane.
He was on his back.
Well, he fell on his back trying to cut inside to pick it off. Couldn't get his body turned around in time.
3rd down and 13.
I heard a whistle blow early.
Clock ran out. 30-second clock ran out.
Delay a game. Number 17, offense.
Took a long time in the huddle to get the play in. Then Cole looked like he checked off at the line of scrimmage, and just as a 0 came up, he got his snap, but they ruled it too late. Hey. Oh, losing is for the birds, huh? I would agree with that. Yep. Rain has stopped. Had a little light shower, but now it's drying up.
Steaming up.
Yeah. 3rd down and 18. Ball back on the 31. Kugler almost had Sipe. Pass is complete, but it is well short of the first down as Carthen is wrestled down by Sam Mills just short of the 20-yard line.
Now they backed up the secondary to make sure that they didn't get the long pass for the first down.
Ruzek is in for a field goal try out of Grupp's hole now. They'll put the tee down at the, well, it's closer to the 28 than it is the 27, but it'll go in the books as a 37-yard field goal try. You take the forward marker, which in this instance would be the 27. He hit a 47-yarder to give New Jersey a 3-0 lead. He's got a lot of leg on this one, and he's got another one. So he's kicked them 47 and 37. And the New Jersey Generals lead the Philadelphia Stars 6-0. with 2 minutes and 31 seconds to play in the first half of this final game of the second regular season. Danny Knight, who had a hand in setting up that last field goal opportunity. And Ruzek ready to kick it off to Mark Mccants with 2 minutes and 31 seconds to play in the first half. 6-0 Generals. Philadelphia has not been shut out in the first half of play this season. But they better hustle, or they're going to get it today. It is not an award-winning first half for either team. From the goal line, Mccants to the 20.
And there his run is promptly terminated.
Each Philadelphia possession has ended in this way. Missed field goal, punt after a penalty, fumble and interception. John Miller, Mississippi State, the hot man for the New Jersey Generals. He's running unimpeded down the field. Now starts to work his way through the blocking. And Wacko.
David Riley, number 35, making the catch for about 5 yards. Chuck Lucina has his team running a hurry-up offense. They'll get 2 plays called in the huddle.
Got to hit the 2-minute warning, stopping the clock. So they'll have a timeout here and time to talk and do some plotting for the next 2 minutes of play, with New Jersey on top 6-0. And Philadelphia with the football, looking at second down and a long 4, just short of their own 26-yard line, trailing 6-0 in the ball game. Our congratulations to the Jacksonville Bulls. They had a pretty good first year, 6-12 record, but they averaged 46,730 per ball game for a new USFL average attendance record. As Cusina's pass is down the middle, and the pass is good to Willie Collier. And Collier coming back upfield, trying to 1, pick up some help, and 2, find an opening. Yielded a little bit of yardage that time. They mark him just over the 45, but it's first down. And remember, the clock stops as the chains are moved on each first down, and Philadelphia ready to go to work now. Hurry up, just over the 45. Cusina back. Ball is batted down at the line of scrimmage. Jim Byrne reached up and slapped it aside. He had Collier crossing in a short zone, and Willie had a lot of daylight.
He sure did. Play before that, he had Scott Fitzke come across the short zone. He wasn't open, but he watched him go across. Then the look off to Fitzke made the secondary spread apart a little bit more than Willie Collier came around behind that over the middle for the catch. He tried to do the same thing in reverse. Ball was batted down.
Stars have only 1 timeout remaining with 1:45 to go in the first half now. Second down and 10 from their own 45. Throws it to David Riley, and Riley's got a first down as he gets over the 45 of New Jersey. LeClaire and Joyce tried to stop him, but Riley had enough momentum and enough leverage to pick up the first down.
53, Bob Leopold was there, and he actually drugged Leopold and Joyce.
Dragged.
He drugged him? He might have drugged him before the game. He dragged him for the first time.
There, look at Riley. LeClaire had a hold of him, and Riley just slipped right underneath LeClaire and went down and picked up a first down, and now we've got a Philadelphia man, Riley, hurt. When he was put down on the ground, he came down on the ball. The ball came squirting loose. So he may have been deflated. But watch now as LeClaire literally has him.
Riley makes a catch there. LeClaire has him, but he just slips away, ducks underneath his grab.
Ooh, that's a pretty good lick, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just bounced around by first Joyce, then by Leopold. So they came back. Then John Preston, 25, came over. So he dragged them for 5 yards. They came back and took him out of the ball game with a couple of good shots. I appreciate that, Mr. Jackson.
I used to do it all the time.
No, I don't want to get out of the box. You want to go Rose or diagonal, Chuck? Let's go diagonal. Let's go.
Well, your guess is as good as mine.
They said something about Scott, so that would mean Fitzke. He's number 81. Brian Thomas is going to go out now. Hey, one thing, Jim Morris stuck to his guns. He's kept Kelvin Bryant on the sideline.
Well, Kelvin was fined $1,000 for being late. Their normal fine is $50. He's been late a couple of times.
It's a first down at the New Jersey 31. Over the middle, the pass is good. It is short of the first down. Number 23, Kerry Justin, gets Scott Fiske down the middle. Philadelphia now working with no more timeouts, and the clock showing 1:10. Injury timeout, incidentally, in the last 2 minutes is a charged timeout.
Frank Matthews grabbed Fiske for a second there.
Down he goes, caught from behind by Freddie Gilbert. Freddie Gilbert, the rookie out of Georgia, and now Irv Eatman and Frank Mathias is squaring off.
And in this corner, from Holy Cross, a rookie, number 75, Frank Mathias versus number 75, a second-year veteran from UCLA. Irv Eatman jumped back into his best boxer's position and was ready to duke it out one-on-one.
Hey, boys. On third down and 11, Fusina's pass is good to Fiske. Cannot get the first down.
Oh, wait a minute. Now we're starting to see some things that are just really uncalled for. Number 25, John Preston, that time, Irv Eatman was on the ground, stepped right into Irv's chest while he was lying on the ground. Now that is uncalled for.
4th and 2, they're going. Fusina's pass, incomplete, knocked away. Fiske screaming for interference, and he won't get it.
I don't blame him. I do not blame him. Kerry Justin, before he knocked the ball away, came across the top, put a hand on his shoulder, then knocked the ball away. We'll take a look at it on the replay. Scott Fiske coming down, he'll turn around right there, and then watch Justin. His hand goes up right there on the back.
That's
then
clean.
he comes around the front.
That's clean.
You think it's clean?
Sure.
All right, put him up. You are not. Let's go. He's got a chance to make the catch here. Justin, when he puts his hand on his back like that, Keith, is able to maintain his own balance and body control in the air, which allows him to knock the ball away.
Philadelphia with no timeouts remaining now. It's simply an academic factor of New Jersey running out the clock. They're on their way to the locker room. So we've played a half of football, and the New Jersey Generals have shut out the Philadelphia Stars in the first half for the first time this season. They lead at halftime by a score of 6-0. So do we have a jinx situation here? We'll see. We'll be back. Well, the Philadelphia Stars going into this ball game today trying to become the third, to win 17 and lose 1. Don Tollefson, who's working with us today, is a longtime resident of this community and a member of the WPVI staff here, our ABC affiliate, back to sports director. Young man who started with us several years ago when he came out off the campus of Stanford University. But Don is a man who watches his own community, and Don, I'm a little interested here in how the feeling is about Philadelphia over the Stars, over the Eagles, over the whole pro sports circumstance.
Keith, it's very interesting. When people talk to you about football in this town, the first question is, how far will the Stars go? Will they get that USFL championship that just eluded them a year ago? But there's almost immediately a second question. How would the Stars do against the Philadelphia Eagles? Of course, the Stars have been the toast of the USFL. The Eagles, after Dick Vermeil has left, have fallen on recent hard times, although they vow to rebuild. And everyone in this town right now dreams of a matchup between those two squads that would really put the USFL's reputation on the line against the NFL. And they dream and talk frequently about Ron Jaworski versus Chuck Fusina, and they also talk about Wilbert Montgomery versus Kelvin Bryant, the great star running back we haven't seen so far today. I think one reason, Keith, so many comparisons are made and so many questions of speculation are raised is because of the nature of Jim Mora, the young coach of the Stars. He reminds so many people in this town of Dick Vermeil, who came out of California, was relatively unknown on the East Coast, and built a team into a winner very quickly. Jim Mora has done the same thing. He's another good-looking young coach, those comparisons are inevitable, so people go on and talk about what would happen if the Stars and the Eagles ever met, but of course, they probably won't. Today, though, I don't think the Stars are too worried about a computer matchup or a dream matchup with the Eagles. They're worried about the New Jersey Generals, and I'm sure this rain might hopefully cool down the emotions that you and Lynn referred to. I talked to the officials. I said, do you think there'll be more fighting in the second half? They said it's almost impossible to prevent. There's only a half dozen of us. You'd need 22 to pair off with each player. They expect some more emotion. Keith?
Don, thanks. Sorry to get you wet. I didn't realize it was going to rain. I think there's another interesting little thing to footnote as you look here at the halftime stats. Let me say this. With the USFL playing in the spring, the Philadelphia Phillies obviously use the same facility along with the football team. And the note was made yesterday to me that Billy Giles and the Phillies have been very cooperative. They've been absolute gentlemen about the working arrangement here, and it's gone very, very well. The deep people for New Jersey will be Marcus Hackett and Rod Pegues. Hackett is 84, and Pegues is number 30. To Pegues at the 6. And comes back near the 30. In fact, they'll mark him over the 30. He had a pretty good tunnel up through there for a time, but then Scott Werner, number 25, came over and cut him down. Brian Sipe now brings the Generals out, sitting on that 2 field goal cushion. 47 and 37 yards. And for the first time in their ball game, the Michigan Panthers have gone ahead of the Chicago Blitz. And New Orleans has finally moved out in front of Washington in their game. Side pitches to Walker on the sweep. And Herschel is cut down at the line of scrimmage by John Bunting.
John Bunting looked like he was taken out of the play, but somehow was able just to trip up Herschel Walker as he cut inside the block of Maurice Kaufman. That's David Riley's knee. That's a big loss to this ball club. He has been phenomenal this year, catching the ball coming out of the backfield, as blocking, picking up the tough yards for this Philadelphia Stars team.
Better check to see how severe that is. Second down and 10. Little quick one out here to Collins. And he trapped it. The ball bounced right in front of him. Sipe a little short of his mark. Bryant is now 4 out of 12 today for only 57 yards, and this man, Kelvin Bryant, fined $1,000 and benched for being late. Has not seen any action, but he may now in the second half with his ball club trailing.
I think also with David Riley out of the ball game, they're going to need a little more strength back there in that backfield.
It is third down and 10. Sam Bowers. First time Sam has seen the ball today, and falling down as he catches it, unable to get the first down. They'll be looking at 4th and 2. And so Philadelphia now is going to get it quickly in the second half.
See what kind of punt Rupp gets away this time. Philadelphia hoping to establish better field position throughout the second half.
Garcia Lane is back. Scott Werner, who did the punt returning a year ago, is the short man. It's a good kick. Really hung it up there a long time. Ran Garcia Lane all the way back to the 13 and down on the 19 and penalty flag.
Number 25, Scott Warner, just pushed. Number 57, John Miller, in the back. And Fisher was right there on the sideline. Perfect position to see it. Matter of fact, the block was not necessary. Miller was not going to be in position at all.
It was a 50-yard punt by Grupp, 6-yard return, illegal use of hands, Philadelphia. David, how many penalties now? There must be about 8.
They've been consistent, that's for sure. Penalized throughout the ball game.
On the return, illegal block in the back. Number 25 of the return team. First down, timeout.
8 flags, 65 yards, and every one of them is hurt.
And you watch Lane, he's being backed up. Excellent punt by Grupp. Starts to look for some plays. Now there's 57 right there, and 25, Scott Warren's man that came in that made the block. He wouldn't have had the chance to make the tackle. The man was about to turn upfield and run away from him.
David Riley, hurt knee. Don, what's the story on Riley's knee?
Well, Keith, the story is this. It's a sprain of the medial collateral of the left knee. David Riley told me that there are a lot of late hits out there today. That's probably one of the reasons there's been so much fighting. Because of that sprained left knee, David Duck Riley will not be back today. He'll be re-examined tomorrow and hopefully will not be out for the playoffs a week from tomorrow.
He's on his way to the clubhouse, I think, in a moment or two, but no, it's somebody. Well, anyway, here we go. Fusina puts it up. Herbert Harris makes the grab at the 20. And they've got a first down. So immediately, Fusina moves him out for a little better field position on a play that I always kind of hold my breath on.
All those quick slant plays, when you come in and you see another score, Chicago Blitz closing the gap on Michigan. They're ahead by 1. You come in on those quick slants and you got the middle line, you got the linebackers underneath you or possibly dropping back even with you. You've got a safety that could come in from the side and the cornerback from behind.
But they work it and get a first down. And Harris goes in motion with Bryant lined up in the backfield. And Bryant's got the ball. First carry. And Kelvin, needing 2 yards to match his total of a year ago, fumbles the ball as he goes down at the 25, and they're calling him down there.
He just coughed the ball up a little bit as he hit the ground. Irv Eaton was over there trying to pick it up. One other lineman who I can't identify. It's going to take Kelvin Bryant a little while, Keith, I would think, to really get into the flow of this ball game, to get loose before he has a real effect, unless he just gets a big hole and takes off, gets a sprint down the sideline somewhere.
Second down 5. Fusina back to throw it. Lobs it over here to Bryant, and he can't pull it down, being covered on the play by Willie Harper. Fusina might have had Donovan available to him, but he chose Bryant.
Well, he gets by Willie Harper there, takes the inside release. Now Willie knows he's in trouble, turns back, looks for the ball, can't make a play. Fusina does a good job of floating it just over his arm so he can't get to it, but makes it a tough catch for Kelvin at the same time. Kelvin got one hand on the football, couldn't bring the other one up, incomplete.
New Jersey leading 6-0 on 2 field goals. Checking off. 3rd and 5. Lockett's after him. And he is finally run down from behind by Jim Burns. Short of the first down, and Philadelphia will have to punt.
A very good controlled, orchestrated pass rush by the New Jersey Generals. They had 2 people coming in. He could not get away, could not run outside the pass rush. They backed him straight up. Then when he finally found some running room, Jim Burns was there to make the tackle.
3rd sack in the ball game for the Generals. And Landeta will punt. Probably hit it around his 15. Bending back at the 10 for the snap. It's good. Hits it at the 14, and pretty good kick that. Fumble and covered by the Generals.
The fans are booing, Keith, because Herbert Harris, number 84, who was covering that punt, was in great position. Looked like he was hit in the back by number 24, Terry Daniels. But I think what happened to Herbert Harris, he lost his footing. He slipped, was falling down. Then he had to go by the man returning the punt. When he coughed it up, he was not in position to make the play. Folsom, the tight end, the injured tight end for Philadelphia Stars, watching from the sideline.
It's first down for the Generals. Ball snapped from their 36. Give it to Maurice Kaufman. Running around looking for some daylight and finds about 5-6 yards worth before Mike Lush brings him down. I wouldn't be surprised if we're not getting into the area of the ball game now where Vince Tobin's going to start alternating and varying the defensive.
I think at this point he's going to have to. So far, New Jersey has been able to move the ball down the field to a certain degree, but they've always had such great field position they haven't had to move the ball very far. I think what he'd like to do now is stop them in their own territory deep to give the offensive team better field position. Fewer yards to go, less chance of mistakes.
Sipe's pass is thrown short and caught by Carthen, but who is immediately decked by Sam Mills, and he stopped inside the 45. They've got to go to the 46 for the first down.
Sam Mills looked like he was just holding back a little bit, Keith, trying to create the timing to come in and just pick that off. Looked like a bit of a screen pass that Sipe was trying to set up.
Need a little more than a yard on third down. Give it to Walker. Got it. Just barely.
Just to get it. Scott Warner, 25, the man in on the stop. Herschel Walker drove out of bounds just beyond the first down mark. Interesting play, 1 yard. Calling that kind of play, stretching it to the outside. Designed to give Herschel Walker the opportunity to see where a hole might be, then push it straight ahead for the first down. I thought they might have been just as successful just to give it to him straight ahead.
The Generals first down, they're on 46. Leading 6-0. 9:40 to play, third quarter. This time Walker goes straight ahead. 3 yards.
Keith, this ball game so far in terms of scoring is more than anything else is a kicking duel, with David Trout only having one attempt for about 50 yards, missing it. Then with Roger Ruzek hitting 2 to give them the 6 points in the ball game, very much what it came down to the game before. But throughout the league, in terms of scoring, Gary Anderson of Tampa Bay leads the league with 126 points. David Trout is only behind him by 3. I'm sure David Trout, who was last year's scoring champion, will lack an opportunity to go in, kick extra points and field goals to get on top because of the awards they give at the end of the year.
Pass is short. Bounced in front of Clarence Collins. Well, Tony Fritsch has 117 points, and Tony plays Monday. Houston plays Monday against Memphis. Joe Cribbs picked up 24 yards today. He's the leading rusher. Kelvin Bryant's only picked up 5 so far, but he was going to get it some more, I'm sure. And Walker 25 yards. So unless Bryant can really bust loose with something spectacular here over the next few minutes, Joe Cribbs is going to be the rushing champion.
Yeah. Sam Bowers having his ankle taped. You know, I wonder how seriously that ankle sprain was, they said. I think it was more of a fracture. Yeah. Just taking so long.
Certainly has. Third down and 7. Sipe didn't get much of a drop. Didn't get any time to do anything at all except go down.
There were 4 receivers downfield. There were 4 defensive backs covering man-to-man. Everybody else was on the line of scrimmage coming in. And downfielder number 96 is the man who makes the stop. Everybody in Vince Tobin's defense is coming. Sipe, who drops back, gets his normal position, realizes he has no place to go and just protects himself.
Grupp is in to punt. 4th punt of the ball game. Pretty good kick. Last one went 50. This one not as long. Taken by Garcia Lane, trying to wiggle his way through the traffic. And returns 3 or 4 yards. It's a 35-yard punt and a 5-yard return. 8:32 to go in the third quarter. Still a 6-0 ball game. Brian Sipe talking to the coaching staff upstairs there with a headset, walking around. Gary Barbaro has not been in the ball game in some time, so he had a leg brace pinching him. And as a result, he came off the field and he's not returned. From the 25, it is Kelvin Bryant. And he's up near the 34. Short of the first down as Gregory Johnson brings him down.
Kelvin Bryant received some very good blocking from his offensive line. They were picking people up as they were coming around, trying to cut Kelvin Bryant off. You see him there. You see Fielder tries to come up there. He gets to the outside, steps over a couple people on the ground. Finally hauled down by number 27, Gregory Johnson.
He picked up about 9 yards. Second down, 1. Fusina trying to cash in something big here. He has nobody to throw it to. Tries to dump it off to Alan Harbin, who's trying to learn to play the fullback position. And doesn't work.
Well, he threw a hand up there and just tipped off his hand.
You've got an injury timeout here for a Philadelphia player.
Looks like Ken Dunnick, the tight end.
It's a leg problem. Could be a cramp.
This is
the way he acted.
If it's a cramp, it's okay. You know, take some potassium or keep warm, whatever you have to do to get rid of it. But if it's more than a cramp, you know, this is one of the things that Jim Moore does not want his team to go through. He already has a David Riley injured on the sideline.
Steve Folsom
has a hamstring injury. You don't need to have your second team tight end, who's now your starter, to go out on you 1 week before the playoffs begin.
Meantime in the trenches. Watch 75 and 96 go at it here.
That's Lockett. I called him fielder earlier. Lockett and Eatman going at it. Eatman in good position right there, keeping him back. Doesn't have to make contact. That's one of the things why that makes Irv so good. He just keeps those people away from the quarterback, blocks him downfield, and he doesn't do a lot of holding.
Dunnick walking off now, so it must have been a cramp. Looked like it. The way he just simply couldn't get the leg under him, get it to work. So Fusina's had time now to visit on the sideline with the coaching staff.
Third down, a long 1.
They've been shut out for 37 minutes and 29 seconds. Bryant for the first down. Moves it out to about the 36. There are certain backs, and Kelvin Bryant seems to be one of them, that I don't know whether it's his pace coming to the ball, whether it's the realization of the offensive line that if we do some work, if we give the man a hole, he'll do something big. But it always seems that when Bryant has the ball, that offensive front comes off so forcefully. Seen at many levels of football. Blitz doesn't work. They pick it up. Alan Harbin, though, can't go anywhere as Willie Harper and John Joyce stand him up on the corner.
Looked like a tag team wrestling match going on out there with Harbin. Didn't have his partner to help him.
Well, it's a tough thing for Alan to try to do, step in here and learn to play fullback in the final third of the season, the final quarter of the season.
Calls for a good deal more blocking. Also on his part.
Again, a very light rain shower. 2nd and 10. Preston shows blitz, then drops off. Byrne is on Fusina. Ball is caught in the air by Bart Oates, the center. The ball had popped loose when Byrne hit Fusina and right into the hands of Bart Oates. And Bart gets picked up 3 yards.
I'll tell you, he's happy that Bart was there. That ball ends up in the hands of the Generals, and they're inside the 30-yard line looking for a chance to score. There's Byrne. He's coming in. Fusina wanted just to throw it. Looked like he was trying to pull it up.
Loss of 3, 3rd down and 13. Incomplete. Scott Fiske was downfield. Gregory Johnson, strong safety, was behind him. And Johnson had it right in his hand.
Scott Fiske stopped. He stopped, looked back, and didn't see the ball. He stopped. The ball sailed over his head. Johnson came up. Johnson may have jammed his finger on the play. He came up to where the ball bounced, where he pulled his hand back. Looked like he just might have jammed it.
Landetta's front. Timmy White is deep. Landetta shoots it deep. 21-yard line for Timmy White. He can fly.
Uh-oh.
Penalty flags. He's gone, but there's a penalty flag back at the 30.
And the Jersey Generals players are asking what the flag is about. They want to know. Coaches are coming out into the field, waving their arms because they're upset. Obviously, the penalty will be against New Jersey.
Illegal use of hand.
Yep. A few years ago, they changed the blocking rules for special teams. They said that you cannot block a player below the waist. And ever since that rule was brought into professional football, we have had more penalties called for illegal use of hands, holding, blocking players from behind.
Philadelphia's lucky because White had gone 79 yards for a touchdown.
On the return, illegal block in the back, above the waist. Number 47 of the return team.
Joyce.
First down.
47 is John Joyce, a linebacker for New Jersey.
Generals make a big mistake. Ball comes back to their 18.
It's amazing. Philadelphia's made mistakes all day. New Jersey has 6 points. That one mistake cost them a touchdown.
Sipe's pass is complete to Knight for a first down out on the 34.
I was saying that one play cost them a touchdown by Timmy White. And should Philadelphia be able to stop them in their own territory, get the ball back, score one touchdown, the ball game is tied.
You know, White just may give him a new weapon for returning those kicks. He is quick.
He is very, very quick. Plus not coming in to play a wide receiver often for the ball club. He's always rested, looking for an opportunity to prove his worth on the football team.
On first down, Sipe loops it out here to Carthen, and he can't hold on. Incomplete. Penalty flag at the line of scrimmage. It's against New Jersey. I mean, the concentration by both teams has been very poor.
New Jersey simply has not moved the ball well. But they've had field position, so whenever they've been stopped.
Tripping. Number 73, offense. Still first down.
Well, it's been a while since I've heard that call.
Yeah. Left tackle Doug Mackey.
We've had practically everything else today.
And then the penalty by Philadelphia also gave New Jersey field goal position so they could try again. Philadelphia's turned the ball over every time they've been in scoring territory.
First and 20 from the 24. Sipe's pass, good to Collins. Almost got a first down out of it. He had all day to stand around and look, and finally Collins got away from Garcia Lane and almost picked up a first down.
But you can see Brian getting nervous. His feet were just jumping around, saying, come on, guys, get open somewhere soon. All the receivers are hustling downfield, and Collins finally gets away from Garcia Lane to the outside. Brian Sipe picks him up. You see he's getting excellent protection, but he knows he's got to find someone quick. He keeps backing up. He's looking and finally finds Clarence downfield for the big game. They're only about a half yard now away from a first down and maintaining possession in a drive that had them backed up inside the 20.
Carthen's open to the Philadelphia 39.
A lot of people in on the pass rush. Brian Sipe able to find Maurice Kaufman coming out of the backfield. They've been running that pass route all day long. The back's coming out of the backfield, just a little route, about 5 or 6 yards downfield and angling towards the sideline. Sipe not having to throw the ball very hard, just feathers it over the defensive man or just to the outside away from coverage.
Carthen. Caught behind the line of scrimmage by Pete Kugler, the nose tackle, who fought through the block to grab him as he went by. Michigan now 13-9. Still a battle of field goals, isn't it?
Yes.
And Washington trying to close out the season with a win. Boy, the wheels came off the breaker's wagon, didn't it?
And they started out hot and then just seemed to fade.
Second down and about 9. Danny Knight can't hold on. The ball was thrown a little behind him. And when Garcia Lane hit him, it popped out.
Well, Brian Sipe saw the blitz. Everybody was coming. He had the right play called for it.
Well, if he'd have put that ball in front of Knight, he's...
Well, those are hard to judge. That's, you know, in relationship to whose responsibility it is in terms of getting the ball there in the right spot and catching it. That one has to go against the receiver. That quick slant's tough to catch, tough to time up. And that one was still in the grasp of both hands, so he should have hauled it in.
It is third down and a long 9. Sipe dumps it off to Walker, and Walker's got a first down. Don Fielder was chasing Brian Sipe, but just simply couldn't get to him in time.
Well, all the years that Brian has been in the National Football League, that sixth sense told him that that man was hot on his track. Brian looked like he was going to go over the line of scrimmage. I'm sure Brian realizes he's not the fastest passer in this league. Just kind of jumped up in the air. Heaved one just high enough for Walker to get to. Over a defensive player, I think one of the linebackers was underneath that pass, couldn't reach up and get it. Walker made a good catch and picked up about 10 more yards on the run.
Ball is at the Philadelphia 19, first down, New Jersey. This is Herschel. Pretty tough running there, folks.
Injured player down the field. Couple of players from New Jersey giving up very, very slowly.
Wayne Harris, the right guard, is the man down.
58, Ken Hall was the center, is the center who was limping after he got up.
Walker picked up 8 yards, moved it down to the 11 of Philadelphia. So here are the Stars. In trouble with 41 seconds to go, and John Reeves is not injured. Jordan is just getting some playing time, having been activated at the close of the season, and he has passed Tampa Bay into a 14-10 lead over Birmingham. Right now, the Philadelphia Stars, who came in with an undefeated record at home, they had won 14 in a row since New Jersey beat them 17-14 up north in the third game of the season. Seemingly the best team in the league, but right now they got a problem. They trail 6-0, 25 seconds to go third quarter, and New Jersey's got a second down and 2 at the 11. And Carthen looks like he's made it a first and goal at about the 9, or inside the 9. He might be a tad short.
Talked about jinxes, and Philadelphia has to feel a little snake bitten right now.
Tell you now, what if New Jersey wins this ball game? They've beaten them twice. I'll tell you, do a little head job on you.
That's what I'm talking about. You start thinking to yourself, well, why can't we go in here and just play football against these people? Now, they're a good football team. Now, I go back to something O.J. Simpson told me some time ago about playing against good teams and playing against bad teams. He said, I'd rather play against a good team than I have my best ball games, because they were always where they're supposed to be. As we look at the attendance for today's ball game.
Pretty good crowd. Yeah. Biggest crowd they've had this year.
But a good team is always where they're supposed to be, so they're a little more predictable. You can get downfield and know someone's supposed to be in or out of position or where he should be and make your moves accordingly without seeing them. good, experienced defensive football team here in New Jersey, led by a veteran, experienced quarterback. They don't get ruffled by the things that Philadelphia will do.
3rd and a half a yard. Third quarter is over, so they'll take the time out here, walk to the other end of the field for the 3rd and short play with New Jersey leading 6-0. And we'll continue after this message. Well, it's put-up time now for the Philadelphia Stars defensive unit before their biggest crowd of the year of 37,758. It is 3rd down and a yard for the New Jersey Generals at the Philadelphia 9. We start the final quarter of play. Didn't get it. John Bunning over the top knocked him back. Buddy Moore had him from the low position, and between the two, they turned him away.
That's just a wall of people in front of him. He had no place to run. He ran into the back of that wall, then tried to bounce it to the outside and was brought down.
And Roger Ruzek comes in. He has been good from 47 yards and 37 yards. This will be a 26-yard.
If he makes it, it will be a touchdown and a field goal lead.
Nice snap. But the kick is perfect. And it's now New Jersey 9 and Philadelphia nothing. And Philadelphia has never been shut out for 3 quarters in their history. Their lowest point total ever was 6 against Denver last year.
Here's a look at Maurice Kaufman. He is going to be stopped by the Generals. There's just a wall of people there. You see he bounces in. He can't go anywhere. And there's a player on the ground who just reached up and grabbed him by the ankles and brought him down.
So Ruzek's field goal from 26 makes it 9-0. The rain now quite hard. It's not a pelting sort of a rain, but it's heavy enough to get everything sopping wet. Mark Mccants well back in the end zone, and he will not return it. So Philadelphia will go to work from their own 20.
Somehow I knew the rain would not affect Roger Ruzek, as he has kicked all of his field goals today in the rain. And was able to get off a very good kickoff that time.
You know, he's kicking better now. When he first came to the club, he was pretty shaky at times. Inconsistent. As of late, he's been kicking quite well. 3 wide people now. Lone remaining back is Kelvin Bryant. David Riley's hurt left knee out of the ball game. Steve Folsom tight end, hamstring out of the ball game. Swing it out there to Bryant, and he just drops it. Never got a handle on it and dropped it. Kelvin did not play in the first half at all, and didn't come in until actually Riley was hurt.
Well, Kelvin will hang on to those passes, so when he drops them, jump on top of them.
Well,
because that one was close
to being a lateral.
And if that were the case, it might have been another score for the New Jersey Generals. We'll take a look. Chuck has to get back behind. Boy, I think that might have been a lateral.
Here comes Bryant. First down. He gets it over the 30 for that second effort. Boy, when he cuts it back into the middle like that,
he doesn't slow up. He just goes. Kelvin Bryant out of North Carolina, he just took off to the inside of that run. Instinctively, I think he felt he should go there. I thought there was more room for him on the outside, but he made the cut. Picks up 10 for the first.
Ball is out on the 31. Here he goes again. And another first down to the 45, 14 yards that time.
So he ran into Gregory Johnson, number 27.
Philadelphia threw for 180 yards in the first half, but in the third quarter and 2 minutes or so of the fourth quarter, they've only picked up 14 yards in the air. 20-17 now in Washington. 22 yards for a touchdown for the Breakers. From the 45, first down. Bryant again.
Bryant didn't pick up much on that particular play, but jerking away from the grasp of a couple of defensive ball players, I think number 56, Willie Harper. Kelvin trying to ignite his football team.
Second down and 7 now as they send in wide receivers and Brian Thomas. Tom Donovan coming in, and Bryant leaves. 12.5 to go in the football game. 9-0 Generals. Dunnick back in at tight end. Brian Thomas, maybe the 50.
Tom Woodland tripped him up right at the line of scrimmage. Did a great job from his nose tackle position. Always worries me when I see one of those fast backs just sprinting up to that line of scrimmage, knowing if he gets a little bit of a hold and you don't get a hand on him, he could be in your secondary in a matter of seconds and on his way for a long score. Brian Thomas has that kind of speed.
3rd and 5 at midfield. That's Collier. First down at the New Jersey 36.
Brought down by John Preston. Willie Collier. A crossing route, a shallow crossing route across the middle of the field. Casino picks him up. He got great protection. You see LeClaire underneath him. He starts to turn it up, and Preston hauls him down by a shoulder pad.
Kelvin Bryant back now in the backfield with Harbin. Preston throwing blitz. Now backs out of there. They give it to Bryant, and Preston started back, then stepped back in the hole, and he was in exactly the right place.
Herb Eaton going at it again with James Lockett a little bit of a standoff that time. Oh, a couple of wet kids still enjoying the football game. Less than 2 minutes to go in this ball game. The Michigan Panthers on top, scored 20-9.
So they'll be going to Los Angeles next Saturday to start the playoffs. The defending champions.
I think Los Angeles would rather play Michigan than Arizona at this stage.
I would too. I certainly would think so. Kelvin Bryant had to sort of reach back to get a good handle on the ball, thus he never really was able to accelerate. And the game, consequently, is relatively short to bring up a 3rd down and about 6. Nickel defense goes in for New Jersey, and the wide receivers will come in for Philadelphia.
9:52 on the clock. New Jersey out in front by 9. That's what New Jersey likes to do in the 4th quarter of a ball game because they are not a strong come-from-behind team.
7 teams in now, Tampa Bay. Down the middle, Donovan. First down, Philadelphia, New Jersey 12. Keepers run it down.
Obviously the best drive of the day, the only real drive of the day for the Philadelphia Stars. Drive was started out on the shoulders of Kelvin Bryant running the ball. Now Chuck Fusini is putting the ball in the air. Donovan runs a deep in route. Gets back deep in the middle of the field. Wide open in between the 2 safeties. For the first down. Ball inside the 15-yard line.
Bryant on a sweep. And he gets out to the 9. Picked up 3 yards on the sweep. And the Philadelphia man is down. It looks like it's Brad Oates, number 70. BYU veteran, tackle.
He's lifting both legs at the knees, and so we know I don't think it's a leg.
So a timeout for the injured player. Philadelphia with the football. Second down. And 7 on Brad Oates, who was hurt on that last play, the sweep, but he's now sitting up.
on the field.
That's your starting fullback in David Riley. Now one of your starting tackles in Oates. Hurt in the ball game. He's a left tackle. He's getting pushed back and getting flipped over. A couple people who were down on the ground. At this stage, he's walking right off the field now. And I have no idea to what extent he was injured or where he was injured.
Joe Conwell will come in to replace him, a rookie out of North Carolina, 6'6", 265. Second down and 7 from the 9 of New Jersey. 9-0. The Generals lead it. Boy, there's certainly nothing there that time, huh?
Joe Cromwell was blocking on Jim Byrne. Jim Byrne got inside and just really laid him down.
Wide receivers come back in now. We're told that Brad Oates has a neck strain. Tom Woodland goes in to play the nose tackle position now for the Generals. Brings out Frank Mattias. It's third down and 7. Four wide. Yusina throws, and it's close to a first down. Fitzke hollering about the mark that he got. Right now, New Jersey has the football. Let's see if they answer. Herschel Walker. Cut down at the line of scrimmage by Mike Johnson, rookie out of Virginia Tech. A Dobler got it.
Great play. He just came in from that linebacking position. Inside linebacker. Had the angle on Herschel. And came after him like Herschel had, he was cornered. He had no place to run. That's the drive for Philadelphia.
Something wrong with it maybe is it took so much time. Yep. Second down and 10. Sipe. Bryant loops it back over here to Walker. Penalty flag. What do you got? Roughing the passer?
George Cooper, number 56, is back there with him. I think that's what they're going to call. I think Brian Sipe saw defensive player behind Herschel Walker, so he just threw that over his head and deep.
I tell you, Jonathan Sutton had been playing the ball instead of Herschel. It's 6 points.
Right.
Stars are dinged again.
I'll tell you one thing, I wouldn't want to give Herschel too much cushion when you think he might catch the football. Just for fear of his speed and his strength, if you just give him enough cushion so he can build it up.
15 big ones.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 56. Defense. First down.
9th penalty, 76 yards. Unbelievable.
Ball's now at midfield.
Maybe it's Ruzek's day. Side back on first down. Pass is good to Walker. Wiggles away from Sutton.
He's gone.
He's gone. Touchdown, New Jersey. He ran right out of the arms of Jonathan Sutton and went in for 6.
Another good reason why you always have to stay close to Herschel Walker. When you grab him and you think you got him, squeeze a little bit more. Because you never can be sure.
Well, they have answered.
And they answered very well. But like you said about Philadelphia, and taking too much time, maybe they scored too soon. You see right here, just a little short pass. Sutton has him right there. He just keeps his legs going. He slips off, and now forget it. He's got daylight. He turns on the speed. He says, hey, Olympic trials, watch this 50-yard sprint.
Rupp will hold it. Ruzek will kick it. Sutton almost got a hand on it, but it's good.
Today almost just isn't good enough.
And with 5 minutes and 51 seconds to play in the ball game, the Generals lead the start. It would have been for New Jersey 3rd and 10 had it not been for the roughing the passer penalties. This play right here.
And Brian Sipe was just trying to get the ball away. It was a design play, but I think he saw the coverage of Sutton behind Herschel Walker when he threw this pass. Ball clearly thrown away, and you saw 56 George Cooper hitting Brian Sipe at the top of the picture. Sutton comes up after Herschel Walker misses it. Then they come back, a very similar play over the middle. Sutton has him, then he doesn't have him. And then it's a sprint, and Herschel Walker is not going to be caught.
And Philadelphia is now over 1,000 yards in penalties for the season. Here's the kickoff by Ruzek. Mccants waiting at the goal line. Mark comes across the 20 out to about the 23. So there, Philadelphia will go to work first down.
And Mark Mccants took on number 25, Preston, in a very strong and aggressive fashion. Bent him over when he came in for the tackle.
Well, coaching consists of what? Management of people?
Management of people.
Salesmanship.
Salesmanship, preparation for them to understand how to beat their opponent. 58 seconds left in this ball game. Michigan up by 3. And having a team prepared to play and understanding what they have to do.
Jusina ducks away from the crowd, gets his pass away, and it is caught by Collier across the 40 at the 41, and Mike Williams is arguing that he trapped it.
He trapped the ball. Someone from New Jersey had a chance to just knock it down. Coming across that pass about 5 yards before it reached Willie Collier.
Extra point blocked in that ball game. Tampa Bay still leading by 1. Fusina has all day to throw. Now throws and hits Fitzke as he slides out of bounds at the New Jersey 42.
New Jersey sitting back in the zone, covering the receivers. We're doing a very good job, but unfortunately, they were doing a good job covering the receivers, but there was no pressure on Fusina.
Well, if you don't put an extra man up there, that Philadelphia front's just whip you all day. You're not going to cause any trouble.
Pretty tough to have 3 people go in against Irv Eatman and Chuck Comiskey and Gilbert and Bart Oates. Brad Oates back in the ball game.
It's first down Stars at the Generals 42. Fusina loops it out to Bryant. Kelvin Bryant's got another first down at the 31 of New Jersey.
Well, Kelvin Bryant took off running the ball. Now he's catching the passes, making the plays. I have to think to some degree Kelvin Bryant inspired Herschel Walker a little bit too.
The other way to Bryant, knocked down by Preston. Short pickup on the play, down to the 27, about 4 yards.
Well, if there was any doubt in your mind that Philadelphia wanted to win this ball game, it should be erased right now, because they're trying everything they can do, leaving all their top personnel in the ball game, trying to come back and win this ball game.
Fusina's hit 7 in a row in this comeback. That goes to Harding. Can't get away from LeClaire. Can't quite stretch for the first down.
Well, he needs to be about 6 inches taller to stretch for that first down.
Rain now falling.
3:33 on the clock.
And trying to get the play off. They get a little bungled up, and Fusina calls a timeout, or New Jersey called the timeout.
New Jersey was trying to get in some extra people, I think, on defense, Keith.
They brought out some of the linemen to put in the extra defensive backs and an extra linebacker. And I think they either had one too many or one too few.
they couldn't get him in there all at the same time, and the Philadelphia offense was on the field.
Michigan Panthers have defeated the Chicago Blitz 20-17 and thus qualified as the first wild card team in the Western Conference. Arizona is the second wild card team. Michigan will play at Los Angeles next Saturday. Arizona will go to Houston next Sunday, and the Chicago Blitz has just faded into history. There will be a franchise in Chicago next year, but it'll be owned by Eddie Einhorn, and it may very well be called something else. It is third down and about a yard for Philadelphia. Kelvin Bryant into the stack.
No.
He get there. You don't think he made it.
I don't think he did. That time the defensive line of the New Jersey Generals got off on the snap of the ball, had a great charge. The offensive line for Philadelphia couldn't get him back off the line of scrimmage. And Kelvin Bryant just bounced up inside, found no room to run, tried to come off to the outside. Cornerback came up and made the stop. And the clock is ticking.
Inside 3 minutes, and Dave Trout is in on the field, puts the tee down at the 29 to go for a 39-yard field goal. It's a 16-7 New Jersey lead. A touchdown would not catch him, so they obviously feel they'll go ahead and try to get the 3 points here, and maybe the touchdown will come at some other place. Tim Reardon puts it down. The 39-yard kick is on its way, and it is good. So Trout delivers at 2 minutes and 33 seconds to play in the football game. It is now 16-10. Well, it was pretty dull for 3 quarters, but things have warmed up. Let's talk a little bit here, Swanee, about what happens if Philadelphia does come back to win.
Well, if they do come back to win, it really takes all the steam or all the momentum this New Jersey team has built up in this ball game going into the playoffs. It also gives them the confidence that they can come back and beat this ball club anytime they want to, having trailed, played horrible football so far in this ball game up until the last 2 drives here.
Incidentally, in the scoring, Herschel Walker has taken the lead in scoring with 128 points. That's 1 point more than David Trout. With his field goal, David reaches 127 points. Anderson with 126 and Tony Frisch with 117.
Well, with the field goal, Nick, yeah, you're right. 127.
Washington has beaten New Orleans 20-17. That's another franchise that's going to be changed, going to Miami. Here's the kickoff going to Marcus Hackett to the 8-yard line. He's in trouble. And penalty flags are thrown as Hackett is finally wrestled down. They're determined to put him on the ground. Another penalty flag. So you may have offsetting penalties here. I think Mark Mccants might have gotten a little carried away there trying to put Marcus Hackett down.
Antonio Gibson, number 23, and Miller, number 57, John Miller, they were going at it a little bit, also on the football field. In a case like this, the referee usually says offsetting penalties. And
well, that's illegal use of hands against New Jersey. That's the first one. Second one is a personal foul. That's also New Jersey.
And a personal foul against Philadelphia.
And a personal foul against Philadelphia. So you'll have offsetting personal fouls, and the first penalty then will take effect.
I think that's the way he's going to do it.
Takes it back near the 8.
Well,
during the return, illegal block in the back, number 84 of the return team. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Return team, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, kicking team.
Well, that's the way it works. Though I don't think 84 is the correct number because he had the ball. Yeah.
Hackett. Well, now the strategy or the decision of Jim Moore to go for the field goal may have paid off here. If they can hold the New Jersey Generals and get the ball back, they would have it in great field position. 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock.
Carthen trying to get to the outside. Can't do it. Mike Johnson again.
And Philadelphia immediately calls a timeout to stop the clock with 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the ball game.
They have 2 remaining now. Both teams with 2. They do that because the 2-minute warning is coming up, so they'll get another timeout out of it.
Without having to take one.
Yes. Two minutes and 10 seconds to play in this football game. New Jersey 16 and Philadelphia 10. It's second down and still about 10 for the Generals. So they'll have one play and then the 2-minute warning, and now it's raining quite hard. Walker. Oh, look at him fight it. He's close to a first down, maybe a yard short. And we've hit 2 minutes. He almost popped out of there, didn't he?
He almost did. He'll get the ball on the handoff from Brian Sipe. He's getting excellent blocking right there in front at the bottom of the screen. He breaks it to the outside, feels some contact, puts his head down, and just drives his legs before he's pulled down.
Jonathan Sutton is yelling for help. 2 minutes to play.
And the rain is at its heaviest right now.
Raining harder than it has all day. Less than 2 minutes to play at Legion Field. Tampa Bay Bandits 17. They have the ball, leading Birmingham. If things stay the way they are in that ball game.
Birmingham missed the extra point.
Blocked. Then Tampa Bay will be playing at Birmingham. And New Jersey coming back here.
3rd and 1.
Philadelphia defense just shoulder to shoulder, and Walker dives at the top, and I think he's got the first down. They're going to mark him all the way up to the 20.
Holy Toledo, what a mark. I thought he got the first down, but I didn't see him going that far. Maybe it's just the angle from here. Herschel Walker using his speed and his leg drive. The line charges out and goes up over the air, over the pile-up, yeah. Looking at it on the replay, he's right at about the 20-yard line.
Philadelphia calls timeout. They've got one left now. At 1 minute and 55 to play in the football game. And New Jersey leading 16-10. Well, Jim Moore and his coaching staff are really going to have to do some sales work this week.
That's right. Because if the score stays the same, next Saturday.
Right here, same folks. But the prize is bigger.
Franklin Field,
yeah.
There's a 15-game homestand for the Philadelphia Phillies. So the Stars are going to take the game across the parking lot, past the Spectrum over to Franklin Field, and the players say it's a very good field.
Last time I was there was 1970 for the New York Giants and Philadelphia Eagles.
I've never played there. Never even set foot on that field. Of course, again,
Greg Johnson said he was there this morning. Did you sweep it up?
our director looking for his camera positions.
20-yard line, first down. Generals trying to run out the clock and lock this game. Sipe gives that ball to Walker, and Herschel running in traffic is across the 25 and out to the 26 for a 6-yard pickup.
And they'll use up their other timeout right now, I'm sure. They do. No timeouts left for the Philadelphia Stars. 1 minute and 48 seconds on the clock.
Which team would you say is out of that Western Conference? I happen to be of the opinion that the Arizona Rangers have momentum coming out of the Western Conference.
Well, I think they do. They've had their problems, their ups and downs, and injuries and so forth, and they seem to be on the roll right now. I still have to believe that Houston has got an edge because they've got more momentum, more consistency in their offense, and their defense is playing much better football.
And they're at home.
And they're at home. But in today's ball game, before this game started, I walked out into the field and I was talking to members of the offensive line for the Philadelphia Stars, and they are of the consensus opinion that the Arizona Wranglers are the great sleeper football team in the USFL this year. That they're a much better football team than their record indicates. And when you look at the stats, they are the #1 defensive team in the entire league. And defense can win you ball games in a big way.
Herschel Walker's produced 133 yards today, 53 on the ground, and 80 receiving, including a touchdown. Whistle stops it. They had pulled the ball back. He stopped them and moves it back up the field a foot or so. Second down and 4.5. Guess who's got it? And guess who's got a first down?
It's Herschel Walker. Adding more yards to his total. And I was going to say that the New Jersey Generals needed a first down in order to be able to maintain possession of the ball and run the clock out, even with Philadelphia not having any timeouts left.
Tampa Bay has defeated Birmingham 17-16. That's the final score.
So we'll see a rematch there.
Yep.
Should this ball game remain.
Birmingham had beaten Tampa, 27-9, if I remember, in their first meeting. From the 35, it's a first down. And everybody goes. And there's a little bit of a loss on the play. Now Philadelphia has run out of timeouts, and that clock is just keep on grinding. New Jersey won the first ball game in the snow and cold at Giant Stadium, 17-14. And now here on a cold, or not a cold, but a cool, wet afternoon, it's 16-10 New Jersey. No team has ever beaten Philadelphia twice in the same season. But the Generals are threatening to do it. Sipe takes the snap, turns around, and puts a knee on the ground, and you've got a half a minute to go in the football game. And the Philadelphia Stars will have their first home loss of the season. They'll have a 14-game winning string stopped. They will finish the year at 16-2. The New Jersey Generals will finish the season at 14-4. And they'll be back here in Philadelphia at Franklin Field next Saturday afternoon to decide the first round of the playoffs. Tampa Bay will be playing at Birmingham, Michigan will be at Los Angeles, and Arizona will be in Houston. And there's your final second gone. Jim Mora and Walt Michaels shaking hands, and the game is done. New Jersey 16 and Philadelphia 10. And a moment now, Don Tolleson talking to Jim Mora.
Coach Moore, 2 times now the New Jersey Generals have beaten you this season. How important is that going into the playoff meeting if you meet them next Saturday?
I don't think it'll make any difference. We're going to treat this next game. It's a brand new season going into the playoffs, a brand new game. I don't think it'll affect our guys at all. Both games have been tough games. They really could have gone either way. And hey, we'll play good next week.
How much did it hurt you not having Kelvin Bryant in the lineup for the first half?
Oh, I don't think that was the difference in the ball game. We were moving the ball well on it. We just made too many mistakes at critical times, and really had a tough time recovering from that.
Their great running back, Herschel Walker, is a guy who finishes every run, the great second, third, fourth effort.
Yeah, Herschel's a great back. He's the kind of guy you can't ever ease up. You know, he can not look real good a lot of times, and all of a sudden, bam, he can beat you quick, and he did that with the touchdown there.
But you're confident your guys will be ready if there's another meeting next week?
You bet they will.
All right, Jim Moore of the Philadelphia Stars, they've lost twice, but he says they'll be ready for the playoffs.
Well, there's your final score. New Jersey 16 and Philadelphia 10.